All right, Clint, let's switch gears. And we were just talking about the September to mid-October, all the whitetail pieces that would cross over to Western hunting. Now let's switch gears to that mid-October to mid-November. We're talking all the rifle seasons in Utah, for example. You've got your Colorado third and fourth season deer, which is super popular.
Oh yeah.
All the elk seasons, you know, after October 10 up in Montana, all the guys switch over to rifle.
Yep.
So let's talk some pieces that really do make sense, and maybe how they, you know, what type of situation they're in. These two we covered before, which is the Equinox hoodie and the Celsius Meaty.
Yep. Two great pieces.
Yeah, the Celsius Meaty in a later season or mid to late season Western use is that, like, what I like to call my insurance policy. That's the one piece that I have in my pack. It's walking around with me, and then if I sit in glass and it's not too gnarly, I'm going to throw this on maybe underneath a shell, maybe over top of some layers.
Yep.
But those two pieces for sure are in that mid-October range. You've used them both.
Yep, absolutely.
Agree, disagree? Or?
Oh, absolutely agree. Yep.
Perfect.
Yep.
Let's jump into a couple of these pieces. This one, do you own this guy right here?
Matic Vest, maybe my favorite piece of Sitka gear.
Why?
I just love, what I love about this vest is there's a lot of function with it. You've got a lot of pockets, you've got places to put stuff, you've got a front zip here, you've got hand warmer pocket up front, which is really, really nice.
Super nice.
You've got, let's see, you've got another pocket here on the side. A guy could throw a rangefinder in there.
With a tether
yep.
for a rangefinder.
Oh yeah, with tether. You could throw a grunt tube in there. If a guy likes to call, you could throw a little can call in there.
Totally. Still have the port in the back.
Still got your port.
If you were sitting in a stand, there's if you're coming out on a guided Western hunt, there are a lot of guides that will put you in a stand at various times throughout the season. So some
great tactic.
Absolutely.
A lot of big animals get killed with that.
And I think a lot of Western hunters kind of poo-poo stands and blinds, but you know, I've killed animals out of both here in the West, and as well as my trips back east. So
killer way to kill stuff.
Where I see this, the Fanatic Vest coming in handy, it's not something I'm going to put on and walk around.
No.
Unless it's absolutely just frigid. I mean, we're talking 20 degree weather, windy.
Yep.
Then I'm probably throwing this on over top of everything or over most things, so then I could pull it off. But the beauty is, you're right. If you sit down in glass and in a situation where you're kind of still hunting in very cold, wintry weather, having the ability to throw your hands in here, maybe you're most likely you're going to be rifle hunting later in the season. So having the ability to throw on what I think is a fantastic vest with just awesome warmth.
Yep. Got wind stopper on.
Absolutely. This piece has definitely application, unless you're a guy that's on the move and you're always going.
Yeah.
And if in that case, I would probably I'd probably leave it and rely on this insulation, or I would jump into like the new Aerolite, you know, the
great piece,
the insulated piece,
yep.
or a Kelvin, you know, or something that's really more Western hunter oriented. But I love the Fanatic Vest, and that's, I mean, you know that this piece is almost indispensable.
Yes.
For whitetail especially, but also for a late season, you know, rifle hunt out here.
Yep.
Stratus Jacket.
Another great piece.
Sometimes I think the Stratus Jacket, it's like the next level from the Jetstream.
Yep.
It's got wind stopper in it. It's a pile fleece, not a pile fleece, but it's a brush fleece on the outer versus the Jetstream jacket being more of a true soft shell.
Yep.
But could you realistically say that this could double up or kind of take the place of the Jetstream in a big game Western situation?
I think it could. I mean, I really enjoyed this jacket in both applications. I love the hood. Absolutely love the fit and function of it.
And you can pull the hood off. It's got the
pull the hood off if you don't want it.
Then you could just run. You could run a beanie, you know, a beanie situation, or like the Fanatic hoodie, or another piece without having that hood on top. Great
athletic fit, sleeve wise and whatnot. You know, fits tight for the guys that are bow hunting and whatnot. It's a great piece for that. I think it's one of those pieces where, once again, you could throw something underneath it, if just you know, to take the chill off, and then maybe later on in the day you take this off, put it in your pack, and don't need it till later on that evening. Not a super heavy piece.
No, it's
so not. You know, it's one of those pieces where the warmth to weight warmth to weight ratio is good on it, as far as not having to, you know, carry around a bunch of extra ounces for nothing. You can use this all throughout the day, realistically.
I personally don't use the Jetstream jacket a lot. Jetstream jacket to me is, and I'm like you, when you come out here, you're just hiking and going.
Right.
That's not a jacket for that situation. And I don't think Stratus really fits that. But if it's a little bit not just run and gun, but if it's, you know, let's say you're on a guided hunt, or you're out hunting with some buddies, and you're gonna, you know, ride on a four-wheeler out to a point and then walk, you know, a quarter mile, half mile, maybe a mile out to a ridge point. The Stratus, it's really unbeatable, and it has application. This is my go-to in the whitetail world. When it gets in. This is before I get to Incinerator or Fanatic. It's a fantastic piece. So it does have some application, and I wasn't sure. I was curious to know what your thoughts was, because I for the right situation, the right kind of hunting, this really is a good jacket for that deal.
No, I agree.
The last piece that I have here, this is the Downpour Jacket. This is absolutely like a rad rain gear. It's soft and quiet because it's got that brushed over. It's warmer than, let's say, Dew Point. You know, it's got a little warmth there. It's not packable. So if you're looking to come out west and hunt with a packable rain gear, this is not the piece. No. It packs down, but it's not
nearly as packable as some of the other pieces.
So if I was hunting earlier and I knew I was going to have some rain gear, and I'm mostly going to carry it around in my pack, and I'm going to pull it out every, you know, a couple days, this is not the piece. Right. But if I'm coming later and I know I'm going to, like today it's snowing out here, so I know I'm going to see snow or rain or inclement weather on a daily basis, this would be usable. Yes. The only downfall, in my opinion, and you can correct me if or add to it, is because of the brush face, the DWR treatment does wear off, and if you haven't treated it and you're picking up a lot of moisture, it will absorb some moisture. So if you're using this in a multi-day situation and you can't dry it out, then I would say the Downpour is a little out of its element. But otherwise, if you don't want to purchase, I mean, rain gear is one of the more expensive purchases for sure. Then the Downpour definitely has use, and I would say the Downpour pant absolutely too.
Absolutely. So, no, I agree. I think that's a good point to make, because realistically, over time, this is going to eventually wear down. It will
gather up some moisture on the outer. You're not going to get wet inside, but it's going to get heavy. It's not going to dry out. So maybe one downfall for that. Take us through some of these last accessory pieces that you use out east, in Ohio and elsewhere, that we might have application in those cold weather rifle hunts out west.
So probably, maybe, as far as headgear goes, I don't know if you can really, and you might agree, you might disagree, but I don't think it gets any better than the Fanatic beanie as far as keeping a guy warm. You've got windstopper on this. This thing is just unbeatable. If it's cold and you're like, man, I need to get warm. I need, I'm losing body heat. Put this thing on, and I'm almost going to guarantee it within a couple minutes, you are going to get warmer.
You will just feel warmer.
You are going to feel warmer
by putting it on. Yeah, I mean
this thing's pretty unbeatable when it comes to cold weather.
I was telling you a little earlier, my son used this last year in a whitetail hunt. Actually, it was pre-Thanksgiving antelope hunt in Colorado. And it was snowing. It was like mid-teens to low 20s.
Oh, it's perfect. And perfect for this.
That hat was just absolutely bomber.
Yep.
So I totally agree.
You pair and then once again, if it's really cold and you're like, man, okay, this is good, but I need even a little bit more, then you pair the Fanatic beanie with the Neck Gator. Now this thing, I mean,
super thick. Like velvety fleece on the inside.
I mean, you can just by looking at this, you can tell, wow, that thing's gonna be warm just 100%. By looking at it. But the cool thing is with this system is if you put both these on, I mean, there's just hardly anything really left to get cold on your face. I mean, neck-wise, and a lot of people don't realize how much heat you're actually losing. Neck, head, face.
Neck and head. Yeah.
So I mean, that's a huge advantage of that system is there's hardly anything that's going to be left to show out the element to actually lose body heat. You pretty much got it covered. Now I have not.
You're not going to hike around in these. I mean, these are definitely just sitting, glassing kind of situations. Which a lot of, if you're a patient rifle hunter out here in the West, you're going to find yourself sitting and glassing. And especially as it gets cold and windy, these two pieces would have a perfect use.
Yep, as soon as you start walking again, you can throw these off. Just throw maybe maybe lose a Neck Gator, put just a lighter beanie on or a ball cap back on, or maybe just put, you know, just a hood up. You wouldn't need this, but the second that you would stop, like you said, the glass, or you know, you're just going to sit and overlook a valley or overlook, you know, a drainage for a little while, put those back on, you're right back into it.
Last piece that we've got here.
Last piece. I have not had the pleasure of using these yet, but after looking at them, I'm going to be using them. I'm going to let you. I'm going to let you lead the way on these, but I can already tell this is going to be added to my kit. I'm not quite sure why I don't have them yet.
You can take them on this hunt when you're here, because
you heard it there. He said I can have them.
The incinerator flip mitt is really a fantastic piece. I have only used this on a few occasions out east. Because it's either been, I'm either in a blind or in a situation where I can put my hands in like the vest, for example. But this has a flip top that then puts you in a situation where you've got a trigger finger, left or right. It's got magnets that put it up. If you're a whitetail hunter and you're a cold weather whitetail hunter, muzzleloader rifle, and you're a Sitka guy, this is probably in your kit. And if it isn't, it is a very expensive glove, but it absolutely would transition over to a cold western. We're talking November, Montana, Wyoming hunt.
Running glass.
Oh man, this thing's unbelievable.
That'd be great.
Because you could certainly use, you know, changing the focus, etc., on your glass or on your spotter with this, and then throw the mitt back on, which is super easy. You could even throw a hand warmer in the top of the mitt. The incinerator flip top mitt is one of those kind of that ultimate cold weather piece that. That isn't really duplicated in the big game line. And I think, you know, even for big game hunters, if you're a western big game hunter and you've got cold hands and you're looking for an alternative,
great piece,
right in the whitetail line. Well, Clint, thanks for taking the time to talk about this. It's cool to get your perspective as a eastern guy, you know, matched with my perspective as a big game hunter that goes east, and to see that a lot of the Sitka whitetail line are items that you don't necessarily have to replace if you're just getting into western hunting. Certainly over time, there may be some real specific pieces like the Apex pent, for example, that is an absolute, I mean, we both have a love affair with that pent.
Money for a pant.
I've used it out east in early season. You've used it in turkey season. It's definitely a big game piece that can transition. But don't feel like you have to buy a full new kit out of the gate. If you're like Clint, and you're going, you know, year after year after year, you're going to start dabbling. You're going to start pulling in some of those Sitka pieces from the big game line, and then ultimately you probably will end up with two kits if you're passionate about both eastern and western hunting. But this is a great topic, and I hope this has been informative for you guys that have stuck through it and listened to or watched the whole video. If you have any comments or anything that you're using as a whitetail hunter that you've taken east or taken west on big game hunts that you think we haven't covered, or comments and follow up, please comment below. Give this video a like if you found the content to be useful, and if you want to pick up any of these pieces or talk about you know, coming west and big game hunting, you know, BlackOvis, we're definitely experts in big game hunting and in the west, and would love to field any questions you have. So thanks for your time, Clint, and thanks for watching on this video.